gas and show up in style with a capable award-winning GMC Sierra 1500. Dress up your driveway and gobble up the savings at Luther Family Buick GMC, corner of I-29 and 32nd Avenue South, Fargo. We are professional grade.
This is Weather and Ag in Focus with Bridgette Readel, Justin Storm, and Dean Wysocki.
And welcome to Weather and Ag in Focus. I want to thank everybody for joining us on this Tuesday, October 1st. Wait, that's what it feels like outside.
It's a good day.
It's a beautiful day, November 14th. Any day you can get close to 60 in the middle of November, you're robbing a day of winter away from Old Man Winter, and I think we'll be happy about that.
I think so, too.
No doubt.
Justin, is it as lovely in Grand Forks today as it is here?
No, more clouds.
Aw.
It's still in the low 50s. That's not bad.
Too hot.
Too hot.
Good night. Jeez.
He's baking like a potato
No
up there.
kidding.
Not enough snow. Too hot.
You know what? I'm kind of with you on not enough snow. But,
Actually, so driving in today, there was snow in a couple of ditches that I noticed right across the road from some guys combining sunflowers.
Oh, wow. Oh, they're still. Oh, man.
Of course, they're
right.
still combining.
Yeah.
But the part that all I could think about was just be careful. It's a nice enough day. We don't need any combine fires.
Right.
Because we know that that's very easily done when it comes to sunflowers.
Yeah. There's I saw a couple of posts on Facebook just finishing up the corn harvest.
Oh, yeah.
I know farmer Mark that we had on last week, he was just finishing up the corn harvest as well. So,
and soil sampling. Well, we're still soil sampling out there. There's quite a bit of that going on. And just a friendly reminder, if you are soil sampling, now's a good time to also do your soybean cyst nematode samples. And if you need a kit in order to take those samples, make sure to stop by your local extension agent's office. They have those for you.
Nice.
Yeah.
What have the reports been about the soil? Pretty dry?
It's gooey on top, right?
Okay.
So depending where you are, it's been pretty tacky from that snowfall that we had. But once you start to put your probes down, it's been better, getting some good cores out of the ground. And it's variable. It's just like the whole summer was. Who got rainfall, who did not, who had more snow, who did not. But the western part of the North Dakota really has a lot of crop out, which is unusual. Normally they're much further ahead of us, but they had so much more rainfall.
Well, and to use that as an example, when you were gone, when we had Mark on, he said just within a 5-mile distance on his farm, it went from, what was it, Justin, like, I mean, it was really low, 20 bushels per acre up to 40-something.
No, he said it was like 60 to 30.
60, so it was double. Yeah.
But and like where Justin's at right now, you know, you saw that change and shift as well in your corn, but we saw some really good wheat yields up where Justin is near Grand Forks. So it's, again, very, very variable throughout the season.
Right. Yeah. Well, let's take a look at the forecast.
I hear today and tomorrow are red letter days.
Well, I mean, I'd say so.
And what are you going to do on Thursday?
Well, that's when the wind machine picks up. Yeah, and Thursday's not going to be a great day, that's for sure. So enjoy today. We've got 58 degrees, a light southwest breeze, and we're making it up a few more degrees to about 60 in the FM area. There will be some areas that poke into the low 60s. It looks like mid to upper mid 50s for the most part in the Northern Valley. And again, wind's not too bad. Tonight, we'll see clear to partly cloudy skies. Lows around the freezing mark, and a mild day again tomorrow. Southwest winds start to pick up. A little breezy with highs into the mid to upper 50s, a little cooler in the Northern Valley. And then Thursday, cold front swings through. We'll have an early high in the 40s, and then stiff northwest winds pick up 20 to 40. And we'll see falling temperatures in the afternoon.
So I've been given several warnings weather-wise. I considered washing my pickup today. I was suggested not to do that because nobody wants rainfall yet. So don't go wash my pickup too soon. And then also I got a buddy, Jay, down by Barnesville Comstock who farms, and he has told me before that putting my coveralls for my winter survival kit in my pickup too early can be a problem, and taking them out too early can be a problem.
You are the great predictor of weather and what you do and where you travel.
I'm hoping Jay is listening and he can tell. I'll just tell you, Jay, why don't you just Snapchat me when you think I'm ready so that I can go put that stuff in my pickup. Just give me a heads up.
Go put it in now. We need more snow.
You want to go sledding, don't you?
Nah, I just want to trample through it.
Uh-huh.
No,
Okay.
he just wants to say it's snowing. I can't make it down there. I'm going to work remote. That's why he wants the snow.
And we have a plethora of excuses in this household.
Boy, that's no joke, man. No doubt.
I would hope
No,
the
I wanna
littlest
carve the
excuse heals
trenches.
up.
Yeah, no kidding. You can only use that one so many more times before eyebrows start being raised. You're like, how long has he been sick for? No, I want to carve some trenches on the driveway and the sidewalks, and you got the yard all winterized, and I'm just good to go. I'm just waiting on Mother Nature to take over, but
You're going to be
I
waiting a
will be on
while.
the same boat. I will be in the same boat. Every day we can rob from winter is nice, because after the first 4 months, winter gets old. But I kind of have snow fever right now, so I'm kind of in that boat as well.
I also think that if you have all this free time on your hands, because everything you have is winterized, I could start hiring you out to a lot of farmers who could use some help. They'd like to get their combines and sprayers winterized, because even just last week, I saw sprayers going across North Dakota in different places. So they would be okay with you coming and helping, making sure everything was ready to go before they put it away.
Side hustle there,
Yeah, and
Justin.
how do you go about doing that? You want to tell us a little bit more about winterizing
Well,
your sprayers?
when you're looking at your sprayer, you've got a lot of moving and potential freezing parts. So RV
Lot of
antifreeze, will work really well to keep those things from happening. It's best to take your tips and nozzles out and store them separately so they don't corrode. Often when you're washing the inside of that tank, and this happens, right? You get done spraying. I'm done. I won't need it till spring. I don't even want to think about it. And that rinse might not be the best one. Don't forget that there are things that if you have, especially if you have an older sprayer with a little less good of a wash system in it, make sure you get that tank cleaned out really well, because what can sit over the season can all of a sudden start to show up in crop next year when it shouldn't. And then also those combines, you don't necessarily wash combines, but you do definitely take like an air hose or leaf blowers and blow everything out of them, because the seed that can be left in there is just like thousands of tiny hitchhikers. And we have water hemp that can produce 250,000 seeds per plant. Nobody wants to have to be taking that to the field again next year. So if at all possible, get the insides of the machines cleaned out just as much as anything. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff that goes on. You're washing them. You want to keep them under a roof if you can. Last year, though, with all that heavy snow load, we literally had buildings that collapsed and wrecked some equipment because they were parked inside. Yeah. Weren't expecting that one on your bingo card, were
No.
ya?
No.
Oopsie.
Okay, let's talk about Bridgette. You were talking about this morning. And Justin, I'm sure you weren't listening because, well, he's got a sick one at home.
Right.
So he's got other things he's doing. AI is, well, actually, you tell the story. This is fascinating.
Okay, so I should probably just bring the story back up so I have all the details. But this is an AI-powered grill that can cook a perfect steak in 90 seconds. This was actually done by some graduate students, and there's a prototype. It's not on the market yet for sale, but we were talking about this in the weather office. You get a steak that's cooked to an average thickness, 90 seconds in this we want it now society.
Right.
Everybody's all in.
Would you be,
Cool.
Justin, would you be in for that?
I think I'd be in for it.
Did he have any idea of like when they do bring this out for sale, how much it's going to cost?
Let's see.
This kid's going to be rich, by the way.
The cooking device is called the Perfecta. This fellow graduated from Aston University and also MSc Ophthalmic Engineering. So sounds to me like a lot of degrees. And this is a Birmingham-based startup so this is actually based here in the States. And they wanted to take all the skills and knowledge they have with AI to see if they could build up this Perfecta product and set up something under the name Cider Grills. So the device is powered by NeuroFire, which is an AI combined with proprietary cooking systems, and it can cook more than 50 types of food in under 3 minutes. Now, I don't have a list of which foods, but under 3 minutes, that beats your Instapot.
Well, is it a grill or is it?
Wow.
They call it a cooking device. I don't have a picture of it here. You can, if you want to Google that, Dean, look for Perfecta grills.
Okay.
Yeah.
He said it's just, you got to remember, this is moving really fast. And the chef in you, Justin, if you season that well, will it work? Are you giving anything up?
I don't see why not.
Oh, so it's like a little,
You got a picture of it.
like a little mini oven.
Yeah. But
Okay.
it works as a grill.
Interesting.
50 different types of food.
Wow.
That's pretty interesting. That's really cool.
So what if that's like the advent of the new microwave? Like I remember as a kid getting a microwave and thinking this was awesome, and the recipe book says you can cook a turkey, and I thought, wow, let's cook a turkey, but never did. So this
I guess I never thought of cooking a turkey in a microwave before, but I suppose you could if it fits.
I guess you could. You can bake a cake in a microwave.
I didn't know that either.
You got to make some changes as far as some of your moisture content for ingredients, but yes, you can.
I'm trying to get a price on this. They're taking pre-orders on this right now.
Just pre-order it. You've got the money.
And they've got, well,
Do you-
I don't after you guys use my credit card for our Here We Grow project.
Oh, it's not a big deal.
Yeah, but we bumped your credit up so much you could get another loan at a much lower
It's
rate.
going to be fine.
There you go. That's a positive way. And speaking about AI, real quick before we go to break, I was reading an article this morning on how they're testing this new computer model, weather model, using strictly AI.
Oh,
And their first few runs of it have shown a very high accuracy for long term. I said, sounds kind of like the LRC, doesn't it? Except this is powered by AI. So I was reading a couple of comments from some pretty well-known researchers, meteorologists, and they said, this definitely looks promising, but kind of like everything else, we'll believe it when we see it,
When it
kind of
gets here.
thing. See how it really performs, because we've had upgrades in our American model and numerous computer models, and they've done they've
to
done
which Justin
so
says
bad.
have still not done well.
Yeah,
Okay,
they've done horrible.
fair enough.
They went backwards. They should just undo the update and go back to what it used to be.
So it's kind of like every time my iPad updates and then my headphones don't work when I'm remote. That
Yeah,
one.
basically that sums it up pretty good.
Great. Really love that.
So we got a nice guest coming up today, Bridgette.
We do. We have Dan Heising. He's with Cottonwood Cider House in Air, North Dakota. So, all right, hands up. Everybody know where Air is? Anyone? Bueller? No. Okay.
I know we've read that name off with severe weather because Justin mispronounced it.
It's right next to Ada.
No.
Oh, jeez. I know. Wow.
In Western Cass County. All right. And so when we also, a real quick quiz for you. Air had a high school and they had a high school mascot. Any idea what the mascot was, you guys?
Windy?
Oh, you would only hope. No, it gets better. The Air Rifles.
Oh,
They were the Air Rifles.
Nice.
So
nice.
Look at that.
Dan will be joining us soon. We're going to talk about him taking local fruits, how they get them, and how they turn that into cider at the Cottonwood Cider House. And we'll be doing that right after this.
Livestock's mixed with fats higher. For the American Ag Network, I'm Richard Risfet with this market update. Live cattle futures have gained follow-through buyer support with prices surging $2 to $3 higher throughout the morning. However, they have retreated a bit from there, but they're still in triple-digit gains. Given the aggressive pressure in the market last week, even these active price gains are not enough to bring live cattle markets back to previous levels, but this is helping distance market prices from short-term lows, creating the potential for follow-through buyers to remain comfortable stepping back into the market. Now, traders will be closely focusing on outside market moves, as the 500-point gain in the Dow Jones today is a huge shot in the arm for overall economic support, but the upcoming cattle on feed report Friday is also expected to play into traders' positions throughout the week. On-feed numbers are estimated at 102.1% year-ago levels. Cash cattle trade remains extremely quiet, with asking prices and bids still undeveloped. It is very likely that it could be the end of the week before active cash trade starts to develop. Boxed beef prices are lower. Choice down 186 and select down 150 with a movement of 88 loads. Lean hog futures, they've softened today with traders pulling back from early week gains. Nearby contracts closed slightly above previous short-term resistance levels yesterday afternoon, but the overall tone and fundamental structure has created some concerns about the ability to push prices significantly higher at this point. Now, this pullback is not expected to lead to active market liquidation, but it is focusing more on the ability for traders to take positions and readjust market holdings at the current market levels. We're going to look at the livestock numbers. You're listening to the American Ag Network. The archaeological record suggests that wheat was first cultivated in the regions of the Fertile Crescent, also known as the cradle of civilization, around 9600 BC. The Roman goddess Ceres, who is deemed protector of the grain, gave grains their common name today, cereal. Wheat is the primary grain used in U.S. grain products. Approximately 3/4 of all U.S. grain products are made from wheat flour. The first bagel rolled into the world in 1683 when a baker from Vienna, Austria, was thankful to the King of Poland for saving Austria from Turkish invaders. The baker reshaped the local bread so that it resembled the king's stirrup. The new bread was called bugel, derived from the German word for stirrup. Ancient traditional tortillas were made from ground corn by Mexican natives as long as 2,000 years ago. However, flour tortillas only started to become popular in the 19th century. More types of foods are made with wheat than with any other cereal grain. These farm facts brought to you by the American Ag Network. Let's get a look at the market numbers. Live cattle December up 117 at 176.10. February up 197 at 177.22. April up 170 at 179.15. And the June live cattle, they're up 130 at 173.80. With crude oil trading up a few dimes at right around $78.50 a barrel. For the American Ag Network, I'm Richard Ristvet.
This is Weather and Ag in Focus with Bridgette Readel, Justin Storm, and Dean Wysocki.
Say, did any of you children see the alien spaceship last night? Oh, my
Not last night, 2 nights ago.
Was that the night it was a really full moon, Justin? Is that what you saw?
Yeah, that was it. There was a moving star underneath the moon. I saw it, though.
I'm glad you notated it and sent it right on off to all of your conspiracy theory friends.
I even took pictures, but my phone's camera didn't do it any justice. You couldn't see any of the thrusters on it or any of the floating force fields. It was a real shame. It would have been a really good photo.
Well, I hope things improve for you. So speaking of improvements, well, we can always get better with a guest. And today's guest is Dan Heising. He is with Cottonwood Cider House in Ayer, North Dakota. And you guys, I haven't been there yet, but there's a bottle of their cider in my fridge at home. Guess I should have brought that in for sample day, huh?
Yes, you should.
So, Dan, welcome to Weather and Ag in Focus. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
So, tell us.
Can you hear me?
We can, and tell us what's going on out in Ayer, North Dakota. How did this whole ball get rolling?
Long story, I guess. It started out with just Stacy, my wife, wanting to do an orchard out there, and then that developed into maybe we should make cider, and then we started doing that, and that developed into maybe we should have food, and that developed into a restaurant, tap room, and that's kind of where we're at now. And now we're all across North Dakota doing events too.
I don't think that's a terribly long story. We've had a guest on whose wife wanted one goat for a pet.
I tried to sum it up a little bit.
No, and his wife wanted one goat for a pet, and they now have 350. So I figure you're in pretty good shape. So tell us about the orchard. What do you have planted? How long has it taken for you to get established? All of the hard work that goes into putting that together.
Okay. Well, we planted about 900 trees in 2012. And 100 trees in 2012, and then another 900 in 2013. And then we've been kind of planting every year, maybe just a couple hundred trees here and there every year, up till about 2018, 2019, sometime around there. And last year I just tried my hand in grafting, so we're trying a little bit of that now too. But we've lost trees over the years as well, but we got some trees that are doing very well. As far as varieties, there's probably about 40 different varieties planted out there. I would say in any given year, we got maybe 15 to 20 that will produce, because some are producing every other year or whatnot. And then we also have a very large amount of young trees that haven't even started producing yet too. So in the grand scheme of things, the orchard's still pretty young, but we get a fair amount of apples. It's this year we had a pretty good crop, maybe not quite as good as a few years ago, but we were happy with it, and we're hoping to get more apples every year.
So when you started out, you said, well, we wanted an orchard. Was that just going to be for personal use, and then things got a little out of hand?
No, it was, maybe we'll figure out who to sell them to if we want to do a U pick or if we wanted to sell apples to schools or grocery stores or whatever. But I mean, we wanted to keep it organic in the very beginning. And with that, it's hard to get that perfect looking apple when you're doing everything organically. So that idea kind of went out the window. And you can put just about any kind of apple in the cider. It doesn't have to be perfect. It can have a bird peck mark or blemishes or apple scab or something like that. It can have any of that kind of stuff on it, and we can still use it in cider. And I'd had kind of a background in brewing, so I have had made a few batches of cider. So we just thought we would go that route. So we started doing quite a bit of research into cider and seeing what was out there and what we can do. And to be honest, I'm not that big of a fan of a lot of the cider that's out there, so I wasn't even that big of a fan of the idea in the beginning. But once you found out the different things you can do with cider and looking at like an orchard-based cider house, the really small cideries that are out there, that's what I really kind of got into. So that's what got me moving forward with it and wanting me to jump in and there's just not that kind of thing around here. It's big on the East Coast, it's big on the West Coast, but you don't see it that much right around where we're at. So to bring something new to the area was kind of a big thing for us too.
Cool. And Dan, you said you had over 1,000 trees. How'd you plant
No,
them?
I'd say about 2,000.
2,000.
A little less than
Okay.
2,000 because
Holy
we've lost
cow.
some.
Okay. And did you have to plant these by hand? How did you? It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a lot of work. It was an extremely large amount of work. But we would dig the hole with a skid steer, like the drill bit thing on the end of the skid steer.
Like a
We'd dig
post
the
hole,
holes with that.
like a post hole digger.
Post hole digger,
Yeah.
right. Yeah, and it was a big one, so it was probably about 18 inches, maybe about 18 inches wide. And then we dig down a foot or two. And we got our trees from Wisconsin to begin with. And then this place in California, we got a bunch of trees from them too. And they'd just be like bare root trees and anything from, the whips, the really small ones, to we had gotten some bigger ones in the very beginning when trees weren't so crazy expensive to get. And we would just bring them out and plant a couple of hundred a day and do that for like a week until we got them all in.
You have to see the look of incredulousness on our faces as when you say, "Yeah, we just planted a couple hundred trees."
day.
Yeah, a couple hundred, no big deal. Sunrise, sunset. Hey, what's the spacing on these things when you plant them? How far apart are you planting these trees in rows?
Well, we fenced off about 12 acres. I think it was about 12 acres of land to plant these trees in. And initially we planted 20 feet apart between the trees and then 20 feet between the rows. And then we wanted to add more. That was that first 1,000. And then we wanted to add more. We just went in and planted trees in between the trees. So the rows, they're 10 feet apart. And then we still have our 20-foot rows or 20-foot spacing in between each row of the trees.
All right. And then here's another one. When it comes to the quality of the apples, obviously you're going to get more yield with a more mature tree the older it gets. But is there a difference in the quality of the apple based on how old the tree is? And I guess that kind of ties into what's the average lifespan of an apple tree.
No, I would think there really wouldn't be any difference in the quality of the tree. Once it starts producing, the apples are good. As long as you can let them sit on the tree long enough to ripen. Lifespan of the tree would vary as well. Most of ours are a semi-dwarf, and I think they say 15, 20 years is the span of most of the semi-dwarf trees. Standards, I mean, sky's kind of the limit on that. We talk to people, we pick apples all over, and we'll talk to people that have said they have trees that have been there for 50, 60 years or longer. And then you have the dwarf style trees, the ones that are planted on like a trellis system of sorts. And that lifespan, I think, is only just a couple of years for that, maybe 5, maybe 10.
And
Wow.
Dan, Bridgette and I had the same question. And it was, so, people have apple trees in their backyard, they'll just pick them off or wait for them to fall. How do you harvest all these trees?
Well, our trees being semi-dwarf, we can just kind of go out and pick most of them. We do have a few larger trees, and we have planted a few standards out there, so we'll need a ladder for some of them. But otherwise, it's just a four-wheeler, totes, and trips back and forth to our building, picking
So
apples.
you do it all by hand.
Right, yeah.
You don't have one of
No,
those.
our orchard would
fancy
probably need to be about
umbrella
50 times
machines.
the size.
Oh,
Wow, really?
The big machines, that's kind of more for the really large orchards, ones that are maybe, 30, 40, 50 times the size of what we have.
okay. It is 1:30 in the afternoon. Dan, we will be right back where we want to continue to ask questions about the orchard and the trees and also how you make the cider, because at this point you've put so much work in. I will drink cider on your behalf just to reward you for all of the hard work that you have done. So folks, don't go anywhere.
I appreciate that.
We definitely want to talk more with Dan. And he, again, is with Cottonwood Cider House in Air, North Dakota. Be right back.
Brr, sounds like winter out there.
Did you just say?
Yep, they sure did, and it's coming. Hi, I'm Matthew, owner of Fix It Forward Auto Care. Winter's on the way, and it's time to get ready, including getting new all-weather tires designed specifically for our icy winter weather. Take advantage of our current rebates and availability, and our team can have you ready for winter today. Fix It Forward Auto Care, the name you trust for car repair.
Fix It Forward Auto Care.
Pucklet Chevrolet Buick GMC in Valley City makes it easy to find your next Chevrolet Buick GMC or pre-owned vehicle by offering a great selection at our best prices possible.
Good afternoon, I'm Tom Tucker, WDAY News First. Minnesota lawmakers are trying to determine what they can do to help families afford child care. A House committee held an informational hearing Monday to hear testimony on the state of child care in Minnesota. Lawmakers say a lack of child care providers across the state serves as a barrier to employee recruitment and retention. Congressman Kelly Armstrong has been recommended for a spot on the House Judiciary Committee. That's the committee that has jurisdiction over all proposed amendments to the Constitution. Armstrong would replace Representative Mike Johnson, who left the committee to become House Speaker. A teenage girl was hurt late Sunday afternoon when she and the horse she was riding were struck by a train in Richland County. It happened at a railroad crossing near Mantador. The girl was airlifted to a Fargo hospital. Information on her injuries has not yet been released. The horse died at the scene. And alumni and leaders at UND are moving full steam ahead into the next phase of their $500 million fundraising campaign.
So Forever UND recognizes that wherever we go, our future is going to be shaped by our past.
Mike Manassau is Vice President of Development for the UND Alumni Association and Foundation. Tom Tucker, WDAY and WDAYRadioNow.com.
We've got Brian in studio from Collins & Kronk Raymond James.
Brian, I was visiting with my girlfriend the other day, and she's just a few years from retirement. She was wondering if she can still retire if there's a recession just around the corner.
This is why planning is so important. When Collins & Kronk does a financial plan for you, we look at several different scenarios. We consider the positives or the good times, as well as the bad. What if there is a recession? We do the math so we can answer your questions with confidence. We want to help you make smart decisions like when to retire or what investments to use.
Whether it's a recession or an economic boom, Collins & Kronk can help you make the right decisions. If you have $500,000 or more, call Collins & Kronk in Fargo today, 701-235-0119, 701-235-0119. Securities are offered through Raymond James Financial Services, Inc., member FINRA SIPC. Investment advisory services offered through Raymond James Financial Services Advisors, Inc. Collins & Kronk is not a registered broker-dealer and is independent of Raymond James Financial Services.
Dad, I can't wait to be a builder someday, just like you.
Thanks, son. Yeah, it's rewarding work, but it's also hard, which is why I follow your grandpa's advice and wear quality work boots from Red Wing Shoes.
Hi, Teresa here, store manager at the Fargo Red Wing Shoe Store. For more than 100 years, Red Wing Shoes has been helping companies keep their workers safe and comfortable, even in the most hazardous conditions. Stop in and see for yourself at 3003 Main Avenue in Fargo. Red Wing Shoes for ultimate durability.
Weather and Ag in Focus on WDAY Radio.
And welcome back to Weather and Ag in Focus. Thanks for rejoining us. 1:35 on this afternoon. We're rejoining our conversation now with Dan Heising from the Cottonwood Cider House in Ayer, North Dakota. And if you want to join in on this conversation, ask any questions, feel free to do so. Give us a call on the Red Wing Shoes phone line. That's 701-293-9000, or our emails, weatherorag@flagfamily.com. You can also utilize those chat boxes over on Facebook and YouTube Live as well. And before we went to break, we were kind of learning how Dan got situated with this orchard. Started off with around 1,000 trees, kept planting, now just short of around 2,000 trees, picks them all by hand. But Dan, what's the next step after you pick, I don't know, 1,000, 1,400 apple trees every single year? What do you do with the apples, and what's that process look like when you're moving into the cider phase of things?
Real quick, I just got to correct you. There's no L in my last name, so it's just Heising.
Heising,
But-
okay.
Heising, yeah. So what we do after we pick all our apples, and there, it depends on the time of the season too, because we're picking apples anywhere from late August all the way through, late October. So it's several pressings through the year that we will do. But in the early varieties, I don't have quite so much of. Later varieties, we end up with quite a bit of. So those pressings are quite a bit bigger. So yeah, after we pick all the apples for whatever pressing we're going to do, we'll kind of load all the apples into the cider house, go through and wash them and go through them, cutting out any kind of bad stuff, any, throwing away any apples that it might have gotten rotten or something like that, and just kind of getting everything cleaned up and ready for grinding and pressing. And so once the apples are washed, we take them to our grinding station and run them through that. And that just kind of turns the apples into a pulp, mush kind of stuff. We put that into 5-gallon buckets. And then once you've ground enough of the 5-gallon buckets, we'll dump that into our press. And what our press is a bladder press. And so that's basically a huge cylinder with a bladder in the center of it, which can be filled with water, pressing the apple pulp that will dump all around it within the cylinder to the sides, pushing the juice out through the mesh bag and crevices in the cylinder. And then that juice flows down and then into another bucket or container or whatever. And then I pump that into the tanks for fermentation. So we'll do that, and that'll kind of be a day's process, the washing, the grinding, the pressing. And on a light day, maybe we'll press anywhere from 50 to 100 gallons. On a harder day. On a longer day, we'll press upwards of 200 or more gallons of juice. I don't think I've ever pressed more than maybe 220, 230 gallons in a day, which kind of seems like a lot, but compared to some of the big cideries, that's kind of still just a drop in the bucket. People can, do that in an hour or two or a couple of hours, the way they got some of those systems set up. But so we'll press a couple 100 gallons a day on a big day.
So,
and then the next day, go ahead.
Quick question there, Dan. How many apples do you need to get that up to 50 gallons of cider? Any idea how many pounds go into that?
Well, in a bushel, and this will, of course, depend upon the variety. Some apples press much nicer than others.
Mm-hmm.
But depending upon the variety, we'll get right around 3 gallons to a bushel being around 45 pounds.
Okay.
So if we wanted 50 gallons, that would be give or take 12, 13 bushels.
Wow.
A lot of apples.
All right.
So, here's another one for you. So do you do all this just you and your wife, or do you have hired help to do this? What's that workload when you're doing, let's say, upwards of 200 gallons in a day? I mean, what's that workload look like? Is that manageable between just two people, or what's the size of that operation?
No, it's not manageable with two people. But
okay, that's
we
fair.
have got it honed down pretty good now to where, like this last couple pressings we did, there was about 3 of us that were involved in the pressing. And between the three of us, we did get through the 200 gallons. So, and that involves me going out there probably a good hour early before everybody gets there, get things started, set up and ready. And then also staying out there a few hours later, cleaning everything up and getting everything put away. So anywhere from, 8 in the morning till around 5, 6, 7 at night, give or take.
And Dan, do you have any background in brewing, or is this something you just kind of learned along the way?
The background in brewing that I have is home brewing, so not much really at all.
Okay.
And my cider experience before starting this was pretty minimal as well. I didn't even really like my first couple batches of cider that I made. So I did not have a lot of experience. It was a lot of trial and error. It was a lot of visiting other cider houses, asking them questions, bugging them, seeing if they would talk to me about how they do it, and just creating a list of questions to ask them once I get there. So that was kind of a lot of how I learned. CiderCon, that's a big annual event every year put on by the American Cider Association. And there's all sorts of seminars on different aspects of cider making. I took a few classes longer after I started. I'd been doing this for a few years before I did this, but I wanted more training and more education in it. So I took a class out of Cornell, about a week-long class in cider making, and then a second one a few years later on some just more advanced aspects to different cider making and production and marketing and that sort of thing when it comes to making cider. So that's kind of my education background, I guess, with that.
I'm still stuck on the fact that you said, well, we thought we should have an orchard. And all of a sudden we've got trees we're pressing. We've got a restaurant. Like, wow, that's a step. That's huge.
Well, it must be fun
I
to
could
see
not tell
where
you
it's
how
all
many
come
times
from.
we all just stopped. Huh?
Continue what you were saying.
What was that?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say, I don't know how many times we've stopped in just the middle of whatever and said, I can't believe we're even doing this right now. It just kind of keeps developing and keeps growing and keeps changing. And we're all just kind of blown away each year.
Well, I was going to say, it must be fun just to look back to see where you started from ordering a handful of trees, and by handful, a couple hundred, no big deal,
right,
to where you are at today with your operation. I mean, that's super cool, just the growth and success that you've had with it. Outside of that point, I wanted to ask, because, I'm a cider drinker occasionally, and when I first started endeavoring into different ciders, the big ones, Reds and Angry Orchard, they were good at first, but I found them just becoming way too sugary, and it really turned me off to some of the bigger name brand ciders, and I searched for different smaller brands that just fit my palate better. So I wanted to ask, what was it about ciders initially that kind of turned you off to them, and what are you doing differently that you're proud of the cider that you're producing now?
Oh, okay. So initially it was, I didn't mind some of those big ones like Angry Orchard or Ace or Woodchuck. But it is pretty sweet, and they are just kind of, they're clean, but there's nothing special really to them. And so that's kind of what turned me off, is it just kind of, like you said, a kind of a sugary drink. And that didn't do a whole lot for me. But, then looking into the smaller places and doing some traveling like around Michigan and Wisconsin, even in Minnesota, some of the smaller places that are out there, and, doing dry ciders and doing, semi-dry ciders, and then just working with the fermentation, doing different kinds of yeasts and letting some of the cider age and barrel aging and different things like that. That's the kind of stuff that really got me moving, got me thinking this could be fun. This could be something I could really get into. I know what North Dakota likes. I know North Dakota likes a good sweet cider, so I certainly make that, and I'm happy to make that, because I can still creatively, I can still find the fun in making sweeter ciders, but putting just different kind of stuff in them, like we do a pepperberry cider that's got an elderberry and a raspberry with a little bit of heat to it.
Wow.
Or the strawberry rhubarb, which is crazy popular in this area. People love that combination of strawberry rhubarb. So I have fun doing those sort of things, but I like the I like working with the fermentation. I like working with the aging. I like seeing how cider changes over time, with, just the different nuances from farm fermenting, messing with temperatures or messing just with the sugar content, the acids, things like that. All that kind of stuff was really what turned me into it.
Oh, that
That
is just awesome.
that is super cool. You said you make a dry cider?
I make a lot of dry ciders. You won't find them in restaurants really because we definitely don't sell a lot of the dry ciders. But at the cider house, I always try to keep at least a few dry ciders on tap, just because it's, when people come out there, they like the full experience. They like to try the sweeter ciders, but they also like to try new things and the different ones like the dry ciders. And so, for example, our barrel aged just plain dry cider, that one's kind of popular. A hopped cider, that one is dry. I did a cider with English yeast, which gives it just a little bit different character, kind of similar, not exact, because the English have got some great cider varieties that we just don't have here, but using their yeast kind of gives the cider just a little bit different character too, which is kind of neat to try when you're, maybe doing a flight of, 4 or 5 different ciders.
This sounds like a good road trip, guys.
I was just going to say, let's
This
add it
is-
to the list. Let's go out there because I need to get my hands on this dry cider and taste everything else that you were just talking about, because I don't know about you guys, but I'm a little thirsty now.
I'm sort of scrolling the website here, picking out what I want. It's like shopping for
So,
Santa.
Dan, what are the percentages of your alcohol, of the ciders? Where do they range at?
For the most part, I keep the alcohol right around 6.9%. There is one that I make that's a little stronger. It's a Cider, and a Cider would be a cider that is, before I started fermentation, I add honey to it, so that increases the sugar there and by increasing the alcohol. And that one's a little bit stronger, but otherwise I try and through blending of the different juices, I try to keep it right around 6.9.
Okay.
I just kind of like that. I think that just works well for the cider.
Sorry, I'm so busy looking at your website right now. I'm having a lot of trouble focusing on all the other discussions.
Well, I think that just leads into the question that everyone wants to know. Where can people, besides at the cider house, I'll ask you about that here in a second, but do you distribute your cider anywhere, just specific restaurants, any carriers where someone can walk in and pick up a 6-pack?
I wouldn't say a specific restaurant, just because the product trend I think right now in restaurants is a variation. They like to get our cider on, but then they want to get another cider and then another cider, and they like to keep it alternating, keep it changing. So I can't say it's always here, because it's usually alternating with maybe 1 or 2 other ciders. But we are on tap at different places in Fargo, Bismarck, Jamestown. I think there's a new brewery that opened in Jamestown, and you'll have to forgive me, I forgot the name.
There is, though. You're right. There is a new place that just opened in Jamestown. Yep. I'll think of the name too.
And they have almost consistently had us, I think, on tap since they've opened. They said our cider is done very well over there, which I think is really kind of neat. And I think Laughing Sun in Bismarck, they have us on tap fairly often out there too. So as far as like within bars or restaurants, it changes and it varies, but you'll see us on tap here and there through town. But as far as our bottles go, you can get those, at any like the farmers markets that are in downtown Fargo, the Pride of Dakotas. We try to make most of those. There are other different events. We've done Savaka. We've done the street fair. This year we were at the Renaissance Fair for glass sales. So different events, you'll see us on tap as well, or see us selling bottles. Not in the stores
Okay.
yet, though. Not in the liquor stores.
Okay.
And then tell me about the cider house. Is it open to the public? What are the hours? What can you do there? A website to get more information about it?
To get information about the restaurant, that's kind of more of a Facebook thing. We don't really keep updated information on the website as far as what goes on in the cider house, and we'll be open from usually late May through the end of October. This year we might open earlier and do brunches, but since we've opened up the restaurant, and that's kind of an alternating menu every week, my wife likes to figure out something new to make every week in the restaurant. So we're open on the weekends, Friday night, Saturday during the day, and then Sunday in the afternoon. And on Facebook, she'll put out what the menu is going to be earlier in the week, and then and then that weekend we're open as a tap room to come out and drink cider and try whatever she's cooked for the weekend. And it's gotten pretty busy out there. It's been pretty tough to keep up.
Yeah, I bet. Well, I appreciate it. I want to thank you for joining us today. Dean, Bridgette, any last questions before we have to catch up with sponsors? I know we're running a little low on time here.
No, I just want to thank Dan. It's been great having you on, and learned a lot about
I know.
ciders.
I am so
We're
busy.
gonna have to get our hands on some of this.
Oh, yeah.
Not the
right
stuff
in your fridge, Bridgette.
Not the stuff I got. That's mine first. So,
Well, you'll see us at the
All
Pride
right.
of Dakota. I believe that's this weekend in Fargo.
All right, well, I'm sure we'll be stopping at some point because, like I said, I'm thirsty.
yes. This is awesome.
All right. Well, we got to get caught up with some sponsors. Dan, thank you very much for joining us. When we come back, we got another ag topic, another check on the forecast. And again, if you want to call in with questions, comments, 701-293-9000 is the Red Wing Shoes phone line. Stay tuned. Weather and Ag in Focus. We'll be right back.
Ah, the glorious fall and winter months. The crisp air, cozy sweaters, and that sinking feeling that you'll be spending more time in your basement. Hi, Lacey here with Precision Concrete Cutters. Here to brighten up that basement with an egress window that'll let in more light than an airport runway. Don't let your basement hibernate this winter. It, too, deserves a little vitamin D and an exit plan. Visit us today at pccnd.com. Precision Concrete Cutters. We turn basements from blah to ta-da!
To all the generous supporters of the Perry Center, your presence at our annual fall fundraiser made an incredible difference. We not only met, but exceeded our goal thanks to your generosity. Your contributions help provide a loving home for expectant moms and their babies at the Perry Center. For those who couldn't attend, you can still be a part of our mission. Visit perrycenter.org. That's perrycenter.org. The Perry Center, a loving home for expectant moms. Thank you.
Oh, can you imagine a stress-free Sunday with family, friends, fun, and food? You can have it when you make Barron's your new Sunday brunch headquarters. Experience a brunch like nowhere else. Your kids will love the customizable waffle bar, fresh scrambled eggs, thick-cut bacon, and much more. Plus, while Mama sips on a mimosa, you can wear out the kids in the arcade at Kingpins.
For a stress-free Sunday, mention My Brunch Headquarters and receive 20% off brunch at Barron's. Make your Sunday stress-free, filled with great food, no cleanup, and most importantly, where family, friends, fun, and food come together for brunch at Barron's. Go to brunchatbarons.com. Again, brunch at BARONS.com. And don't forget to mention My Brunch Headquarters for 20% off and experience your stress-free Sunday at brunchatbarons.com.
Brunch at Barron's, located inside Kingpins off I-29 and 52nd Avenue South in Fargo.
Attention service technicians. Border Plains Equipment certified Case IH and New Holland dealers in Stanley and Williston, North Dakota are looking for top-notch individuals to join their team and perform quality maintenance and repairs on all types of agricultural equipment. Border Plains Equipment is a value-led, 100% employee-owned company offering competitive wages, benefits, and job training. If you're ready to work in a great environment with great people, apply at plainsag.com. Border Plains Equipment Inc., proud to be an equal opportunity employer.
Are you tired of woke investment firms trying to push their political agenda onto your money? This is Brian Kronk, financial advisor at Collins & Kronk here in Fargo. If you are through with big East Coast companies and their ESG agenda, call Collins & Kronk for a consultation. See how we build a plan based on what matters to you. Call Collins & Kronk today, 701-235-0119. That's 701-235-0119. At Collins & Kronk, you matter.
Raymond James Financial Services, Inc., member, FINRA, SIPC. Collins & Kronk is not a broker-dealer and is independent of Raymond James Financial Services.
Hi, I'm Kevin Wolf, president of Laney's. Do you have a faucet that just won't stop dripping? Or maybe you need to replace your garbage disposal? If so, you need to consider Laney's for all of your plumbing needs. Our plumbers are courteous, clean, and professional, and you can trust that they will get it done right the first time. So for peace of mind, call us today at 237-0543 or visit us on the web at laneysinc.com.
828 is just great.
Hey, it's Bonnie Mastati.
And Jay Stenman.
Join us Friday broadcasting live from Shields Ice Fest in the Shields parking lot in Fargo.
Get ready for the ice fishing season with the best deals of the season at Shields before the season even starts, including unadvertised hourly and daily specials.
Wow, and your chance to win over $25,000 in prizes.
Ooh.
Get this, including a Garmin a Day giveaway and fishing trips.
And we'll see you at Shields Ice Fest beginning this Friday.
This is Weather and Ag in Focus with Bridgette Readel, Justin Storm, and Dean Wysocki.
Oh my God! Got it!
Hey, welcome back to Weather and Ag in Focus, 1:55 in the afternoon. We want to remind everybody that WDAY Radio is partnering with Legacy as we approach the winter here in North Dakota. It doesn't feel like it out there today. But Legacy Plumbing is committed to spreading warmth and love to a family in need. Do you know a family? Do you have one in mind that could benefit from a brand new furnace? Well, the Legacy team, along with us here at WDAY, we want to help out the community, and now through the 15th of December, we invite you to go onto our website, WDAYradionow.com, go to the Hot Links tab, and click on Warm Heart, Warm Home, and tell us why you're nominating this person who could use a little help during this season of giving. The winner will be announced on Bonnie and Friends Monday, December 18th. So again, log on to our website, WDAYradionow.com, and nominate somebody for that. That's a great thing, no doubt about it. Don't need the furnace today. I don't need the air conditioner either, but I venture to say I bet a few people have their windows open. It's just a beautiful day out there today, and we're looking at those temperatures continuing to climb. We're in the upper 50s right now. We'll top out a few more degrees, lower 60s across the far southern valley and a little cooler in the northern valley. Winds will switch to the northwest later this afternoon, 10 to 15. Tonight, those winds switch to the west on the light side, clear to partly cloudy down to about 30. And then as we head into Wednesday, we're looking at breezy conditions developing out of the southwest, but mid to upper 50s. What's going on here? Our normal highs are mid and upper 30s for this time of the year. This is well above normal. And then windy conditions in 40s with falling temperatures on Thursday. Those winds will gust out of the northwest close to 40. And then we'll mellow things out with temperatures remaining above normal through the weekend.
I feel like I should act that out, like holding my face back because it's so busy and windy. When you say then the temperatures are going to fall and like hit the floor, it's going to be quite the day.
Yeah, it's going to be Thursday will be a shock to the system, but nothing out of the ordinary. And we also want to remind people, put on your calendars December 5th. We will be having our winter weather outlook from 2 to 5 actually, on the Jay Thomas Show, and we'll be inviting callers to call in during that last hour of the show. We'll have our cycle length set by then, more than likely. We'll wait and see, but that's the way it looks right now. And we'll kind of break down week by week, month by month, spring, winter, spring. We'll even touch on maybe a few days into the summer, those important holidays. See what they kind of look like according to the LRC.
We're just going to match it up with my travel and with Justin's days off. That's how we know the weather.
There we go. We want to thank you for joining us on Weather and Ag in Focus. And we'll see you tomorrow at 1 o'clock. Don't go anywhere. The Jay Thomas Show, that is coming up next.